Welcome back. Welcome back to this YouTube Live this Wednesday. Welcome to the Waterfowl Den. My name's RD. We got a friendly face back into the studio today. Pattern Pros. Some of you may know the face, may remember the episode. It's been about a year since they've been on, and it's getting about water time season. So I thought it would be a great time to have them back on, discuss, what's new, what's coming, what's changed, talk a little bit of waterfowl season. So welcome back to the Waterfowl Den.
Well, RD, thanks for having me again. I actually think it's been 2 years
Really?
since the last. Yeah, I know. I really think. Yeah, because I'm pretty sure that was when we were really just had like actually launched like within a couple months. I know it's weird. It's been that long already,
That's crazy.
but we've uh we've come a long ways. There's a lot that's different. But it's been a journey, that is for sure, and it's crazy to think that we're still at the first few steps of it, despite how far we've come.
So originally there was three of y'all,
Yep.
and one of y'all, I guess, went to pursue his other passion. So let's talk about that.
Yeah. So Brody, he was an armor in the Marine Corps. He's starting his own gunsmithing stuff, which is kind of what we always knew. But like I was telling you off air, it was we still text. We're either texting in a group text or talking on the phone, or I mean, it's always something. So it's nothing has changed a whole lot. We're either talking about a hunt we've been on or going on or something stupid. I mean, yet still three Marines in a group chat, so you can imagine what that's like.
A bunch of crayon talking.
Yeah, and yeah, some of that. There's a little bit of that.
So I did get to talk to him at the Ducks Unlimited. He actually recognized me and came up behind me and said, "Hey man, I was just letting you know that I'm starting my gunsmith." And dude, we probably talked 30 minutes or more about his passion for gunsmithing and wanting to do different stuff. So that's good for him. But
Yeah, he is a gun nut, and like to listen to him talk about stuff. It's almost every time we're talking guns. Uh, I'm learning something new. I'm like, dude, are you making this stuff up? I've never even heard of this stuff. So if there's something gun related, he can either tell you pretty much right off the top of his head, or he can probably give you a pretty good educated guess as to what's going on.
yeah. So in the chats, Jeff said, "Hey, Jeff," and for the rest of the people, if you missed last week's episode of the YouTube Live, you missed a awesome one. I was in YouTube jail, and I I broke a community policy on assembling a shotgun. So they classified it as a different type gun, and I went into YouTube jail for a week. So I am back, freshly out of YouTube jail, but
Yeah,
it's
I'm
the
pretty
things we
sure.
play with.
I'm pretty sure I still can't go live on Instagram. I don't even know how long that's been now. My
So
wife tried to go live when we were at the Delta show a few months ago. She's like, "Why can't you?" I was like, "I don't know how long it's been on there. I don't know how long." It's Yeah, it's very frustrating.
it's just the rules we have to play with. So let's talk Pattern Pros. Who is Pattern Pros? How did y'all get started? I know the background of, three military guys, but let's bring back some history here.
Yeah, always good to start at the beginning. Me, Christian, and Brody, we all met. Golly, I think we met 2018, and Brody was kind of like in the movie Step Brothers, where it was like I was I mentioned duck decoys, and he kind of looked over at me. We were cleaning weapons, and like, do we just become best friends? Um, so that's how him and I became friends. We started duck hunting very quickly right after that, and then Christian, his kids are the same age as my kids, and we met on our wives forced us to be friends, or at least to meet. After that, it was like, you like to shoot stuff, I like to shoot stuff. All right, yeah, we're friends. But so we were there in Camp Pendleton, California. Uh, Brody got out in 2020, and then I think Christian was either later that year or first thing 2021, and I got a few months after that. But so we duck hunted, turkey hunted, deer hunted, dove, everything we could hunt together. And then it was probably probably right about 3 years ago today that Brody had called me and was like, dude, I got a new gun. I bought a couple different boxes of shells. And he's like, I went patterned them and they sucked. He's like, I cannot hunt with those. Like, they were awful. And it was like, well, like, let's think of something. And what we came up with was 8 different shells with 3 of each of those shells in one box. So 24 shells in a box, allowing you to try out a bunch of different shells all at one time without spending a ton of money, and actually find something that works best for your setup. And with the amount of gun, choke, shell combinations, it's about limitless. You walk into a store and there's 30 different boxes there, and you're like, well, I don't know which one's going to work good for me. And for the people to say, well, just get them over the decoys, it doesn't matter at that point. Well, one, that's a heck of a lot easier said than done. But two, I've seen some awful patterns at 20 yards. Like, you're not hitting effectively what you are shooting at.
Exactly.
And so many people don't go patterning their guns. It's shockingly bad, the amount of people who are duck hunters who do not pattern their guns.
Or even try to make the gun fit them.
Yes. And like that I can understand a little bit more. Like, there can be, you may have to shim it, or it's just, hey, this is the gun I've got, and that's what I got to deal with.
Yeah.
Okay, I get that 100%. But if you're gonna go deer hunt, or what, you're gonna go shoot some with a rifle, or you're gonna shoot some with a bow, what are you gonna do before you go hunt? You are gonna go make sure your rifle's zeroed, and you're gonna go make sure your bow's on. So exactly. Why are you not gonna go do that with a shotgun? And the shows I've done, it's, you talk to people and it's, hey, have you patterned your gun? You're like, yeah. Well, my turkey gun. So, well, what about your duck gun? Well, no. I said, well, for the most part, turkey's probably standing still. And then if you're using TSS, probably number 9s, you got, I don't even know how, 700-800 BBs or whatever the heck it is for a 3-inch, 2-ounce shell, compared to, a little teal, or even a mallard or whatever, like, that's moving. And I'm like, why would you not figure out if that shell's going to work good? And a story that I always bring up is, a couple years ago, Christian had got a brand new Winchester SX 420 gauge. A very, like, you talk to a ton of people and they say they love the gun. And so he's all excited, and we're going to go see some buddies in Arkansas. And he comes to my house. It was like first week of January, and we go pattern, and it was like 5 or 6 different shells at 25 yards, and it was just awful. I mean, atrocious, every single one of them. Like, he would have had to have been within less than 20 yards, 15 yards, to effectively kill what he was shooting at. And I was like, dude, stop shooting. Like, we're wasting ammo. Like, there is something here that we're not seeing. So I'm like, it's got to be a choke. It's most likely a choke problem. So he ended up going, I think, the next day and getting the choke tube for it. And, obviously since patterned it. And it was night and day difference. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
all right, you're good there. So, in that instance, it didn't have really anything to do with the shell, but the fact that we had gone out and patterned it and at least figured out what it was doing on paper shows you that how important it is. And I'm like, it's so sad if somebody got that same setup for Christmas, probably, 2 weeks prior to that, and potentially had the same issue. And now a lot of time, it was just a factory modified choke, but most of the time, there's zero issue with that choke with the factory modified. But it's just the simple fact that most people aren't going to go take the time to go put it on paper,
Exactly.
and it does not take a lot of time. Like if you shoot our pack, um, shoot it. We ideally like to shoot it at 20, 30, and 40 yards. Even then, it takes an hour and a half. It's not a lot of time. You just go do it in the off season, or heck, you could do it in the middle of the season. If you see something, you're like, Kyle, I'm just not hitting birds, or I'm not killing them, I'm crippling them, or it just something's off, and you go put it on paper. Well, you're like, oh man, like that's obviously bad. So you get one of our packs, you go try it out. And so typically, if I get an order in, I'm shipping it out usually the next day. If I'm not on shift, I'm shipping it out next day. And even if I am, my wife is typically sending it out. Unless it's the weekends when UPS pickup is not running. But so you're gonna get that in less than a week most of the time, and you go pattern it. You find a shell that works best, and that day you go and order whatever frickin' shells that obviously work best for you, or you go to your local store and get them. So it's not like, hey, I shot it, and now I got to wait a month to go get these shells. Within a week and a half, you can completely turn around your entire season, and that's going to give you that confidence, knowing that when you pull the trigger, that shell is going to work great out of your gun and choke combination.
Exactly. And that's what I tell people all the time too. Like, pattern your shotgun, because just because I pattern my brand A with brand A choke, you might have the exact same brand A and brand A choke and it look totally different. They're not the same because these manufacturers are mass producing so many chokes that they're not in the same specs as like an aftermarket. So there's that. And two people, sometimes they wait to the last minute to go pick up shells, and they just go down to the nearest store and buy what's in stock, and they turn around and get what you say they look like trash. Well, it might look a little different if you used a different choke, but a lot of times people don't pattern. They go out there and say, well, this shell's junk, I'm not shooting it anymore. And it could not just be the shell. It could be the choke. Could just be that gun.
So it's funny. I had made an Instagram post yesterday evening, um, and somebody was talking bad about Migra, and I was like, well, a lot of people like Migra, but I was like, it's the same as any shell. You'll have somebody right next to you say that's absolute trash, and then the person on the other side of it is like, that's my favorite shell I've ever shot. So I'm like, it varies so much. There's so many differences, and like even in, like you're talking about somebody having the same gun and same choke, but maybe they were made in different factories, or for whatever reason there was an issue with that particular choke that they put in their gun, and it just doesn't work. So it's crazy just to think that people have been neglecting a simple thing as patterning your gun for obviously a long time. Um,
Exactly.
and it's something we really need to change in the culture. And it's, we talk about bird numbers are down. Well, it's, when you cripple an absolute ton of ducks across the entire country, if you go take all of, 10% of those ducks and put them back in the breeding population every single year, well, over a little period of time, you should start to see more birds around because you are actively putting more birds back into the breeding population, and you're also bringing home more ducks because you actually have a shell that's is patterning compared to just as they say the scatter gun. And I think that's what a lot of people think. Oh, it just out there and shoots BBs. I'm like, well, yeah, it does just shoot BBs, but there's more happening than just that.
Absolutely. And I've seen because I do a lot of pattern testing, making videos and stuff. I've seen so many brand A out of brand A gun shoot high or left, and I take the exact same choke and put it in a different model, and it moves that exact same pattern that I shot 3 or 4 times high left, either high right, or it just moves it around, and that just goes to show you maybe that's not the right shell for that gun, and y'all came up with a solution for that.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing how that stuff kind of starts to one tiny little thing of, hey, I'm take this choke out, put that choke tube, or all right, take that shell and put it in that gun compared to that gun, and it's night and day. And it makes all the difference in the world where it's instead of you whiffing something or crippling it, that bird's stone dead. And so now, how many times have you been out, or your dog's been out, chasing a crippled duck, and you look up, and birds were locked up, and you're like, well, crap. Like they were gonna do it, but because I'm out here chasing this freaking crippled duck, I just ruined it. Whereas if that bird's stone dead, and other birds are working. I mean, maybe you see them working. Hey, they're dead, and you look up and oh man, the other birds are coming. Now I don't have to worry about going to get that dead bird immediately. If you're in still water, obviously, if you're
Right.
in moving water, that's different. But that bird's dead. He's not going anywhere. I've kind of marked it. Um, and now these other birds come in, and then you can shoot them. Or hey, now I'm not flaring. I'm just not flaring birds because I shot one time compared to I shot all three freaking times. And so you go into a spot, hey, we're going to get in here. You banged them out real quick. You shot your limit, and you're, hey, there's still a lot of birds in the area. Like we can come back tomorrow morning
And let
and
them
bang them out
rest.
again. Where so it's like you get potentially two good hunts compared to you go in there and you shot a box and a half of shells. Now you're like, that place is shot out.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're like, every bird in the county knows that right there was a war zone. Whereas you and a buddy go in there, and I've done it here with actually with Christian. Um, it was we got in, we shot our limit. It was like, dude, let's get out of here. We can come back tomorrow morning. And guess what? That's exactly what we did.
Yep.
You go in there blowing the woods down, and that spot's done. So if you go out there and just shoot you pull a trigger, bam, dead bird. It's a heck of a lot easier. So now you're not only are you making it better for yourself and your buddies, but you're also making it better for everyone else around you because you're just quieting down the entire area.
Right.
You're only shooting your one or two shots, and it's over with. Compared to like I said, a war zone, which just makes it so much better. And people are always talking about their birds are shy or they don't want to come in. Well, if you're shooting a heck of a lot less, a third as many times, like they've been exposed to a lot less, and now like, hey, they may actually give you a chance.
Especially in South Carolina where we don't have the the bird population like a lot of these other states.
Yeah, I know. Maybe one of these days I can move to a state I can go shoot something.
So your full-time job is fire and EMS, and I know you live in the great state of South Carolina also. Uh,
Mm.
but we're talking waterfowl shells at the moment, and I know y'all offer other species and other shells, but non-toxic that we're talking waterfowl, we're talking steel, we're talking bismuth, we're talking TSS, and now with ball spring and copper, you basically have 4 metals to shoot with. On top of all of that, you now have duplex loads that have steel and TSS, or steel and bismuth. You got some people that's mixing all kind of stuff. I would hate to know how many boxes or different manufacturers there are for waterfowl season. I bet that number is alarming.
There is a new shell. There is new shells every single year. Like Winchester just came out with one, Final Pass, and that's a 2.5 and 4. So there's never been a two. I've never heard of
Say they just come up with a new number.
Yeah. So there's always something different. And you got companies. Epic Shot Shell, they have a shell called the TNT, which is TSS and bismuth combined. Which is obviously expensive, but you're probably only pulling, if you're a halfway decent shot, you're probably only pulling trigger one time.
And even with just to pick one metal, steel, there are not equal steel. There's round, there's oblong ones, there are these funky looking square dry lock, weird looking cube things.
Yeah.
And then you get into TSS, which has different strengths. I mean, it is a science.
There's always something different, and then like you talk about, there's different. You got I think hex shot. There's just so many different things, and some of that stuff is people are like, I shot it and it was awful. And then other times it's the same thing. You're like, you talk to a guy right next to you, and you're like, that's the greatest stuff. I won't shoot anything else. And I've known people that they found something and they're like, I bought 10 cases of it. Like there was a sale, and it's funny now they're like they don't even make that stuff anymore. Whatever the shell will be. And then you mentioned Boss with their copper stuff. That'll be coming here soon for us. I know they're just absolutely just pumping it out right now. So there's always something new, and you just don't know what's going to work for you until you actually go pull the trigger.
Right.
And you shouldn't be finding out whether that's effective or you shouldn't be finding out if it patterns well the day of the hunt. You just go do your homework. I mean, it doesn't take you a whole lot of time. It's fun. You get some trigger time. It's not going to do anything besides good for you. And you don't have to go count every single BB. So typically, like what I do, we have our own target. So they're 3 foot by 3 foot brown craft paper. A lot of people, when they do go pattern, they're doing it on almost like printer paper size, which just doesn't show you the whole picture. But so you're shooting at 20, 30, and 40 yards. Typically, right off the rip, you'll have at least a couple at 20 yards that are not going to be. You're like, those are not going to be contenders. And then you go back 30 yards, and it'll be the same. You'll have a couple more drop off, and then you'll have your 3 to 4 or so that you go back to 40 yards, and then it's usually two that are, you kind of look at them and you're like, all right, I'm going to sit there and count how many BBs are in this 30-inch circle. And so when you actually go do pattern, you don't want to draw your circle and then shoot. So like for us, like we put a 1-inch black dot roughly in the middle of the paper because I'm doing it by hand, so I'm not going to do it perfect. That's your aim point. Shoot, and then when you actually go draw your circles, you're going to use the most dense part of your pattern as the center point. So we actually have a 3D printed device called a CAD, circle assist device, and you're going to put that right in the middle of the most dense part, and then it actually has 4 total circles in the line. And so the first one will give you a 10-inch circle. So it's just making it easy for you to draw that circle. So 10-inch, and then the next one you get a 20-inch circle, and then a 30-inch circle. So that allows you to really try and break things down. But that's typically what I'm doing when I've got those last couple that I'm looking at, and I'm like, all right, I'm trying to make a decision which one of these is best for me. Or if I'm just doing a bunch of patterning and somebody's asked me to look at something, and I'll go do it. But it's always interesting. Every time I do it, I learn something. I find another shell that I'm like, hey, I don't necessarily need it right now, but if I have to later, I know I can go get that, and I can immediately be effective. And then you got your others where you're like, that one was awful. Like, I know I'm not going to go buy that. Like, unless it's the last box anywhere, and you're like, oh well. But even that's a whole other story.
That was the COVID time.
Yeah, exactly. God, I mean, I think most people have stockpiled or so since then. But yeah, it's an interesting thing to just go do. It's fun. Like I said, you get some trigger time, and just like anything, it's best to be pulling the trigger. You don't want to get on your hunt and be like, man, I haven't pulled the trigger in a year. Ideally would have liked to have shot some, obviously prior to that.
Right, and that's what my buddy was doing. He got a new shotgun, and he was like, well, let's go shoot skeet. And I'm like, well, you need to get a couple boxes. Let's go shoot skeet, and whichever one you shoot better with, never buy another shell. That's the shell that your gun likes. So when waterfowl season come around, and I was getting him into waterfowl, he was like, well, I got this new gun. I have no clue what I should buy. And I'm like, well, I got some shells laying around the house. I just give them to you. He's like, well, and then it hit me. I was like, well, darn. There is a pattern company called Pattern Pros that's in our own state. Why don't you call them? And he was like, what is Pattern Pros? I'm like, okay. So it's a company that buys 15 different brands of steel, and they put 2, 3, 4 in a box. And I was just telling him the story. I'm like, they put 3 in a box, and you get to test every single brand. And then you got different type of steel boxes. You got different type of better brand, of which is like bismuth, and then you got like TSS. Like, just buy one box of each one, and you're going to know, instead of going out and buying 6 boxes at $40 a piece, you could buy one box that has all these brands in them, and they're top quality stuff. So let's talk about the steel packages y'all got. Y'all got what, 2 boxes of steel?
No, so we've expanded. So
snap.
we have, yeah. So we have 6 different boxes, 6 different packs for 12 gauge, and 6 different boxes or 20 gauge. Five of those boxes each are all steel. Except I think there might be there's still some Boss bismuth in one or two of those boxes, just because we've left it in there. Just it's still available. So we haven't completely gone away with that. But so yeah, we have five different options that are pretty much all steel loads. So
Jeff brings up a good conversation in the chat too. I don't think you can see the chat part, but he's a big Salt Creek guy like me. I like some Salt Creek. Keith makes some good shells, but he's a big bismuth guy too. And I love bismuth, and it hurts a lot of people's feelings that we can't get bismuth right now, and we're stuck with shooting steel. And steel, there is 1,000 people out there that says steel will kill, and it absolutely will. We know that steel will put birds on the ground, but is it the best? So this is a good program if you can't get bismuth and you're going like, well, dang, I'm stuck with steel. What is this steel that I can shoot? And like you're fixing to lead into saying the brands, and then what pellets and stuff like that's in y'all's boxes. Hey, I could buy one box of this and I could shoot all this steel without having to go out and buy 10 boxes, and some of them be trash.
yeah, so it's almost even more important now than ever. Where I feel like the last couple of years, especially, people have leaned on bismuth because it's obviously more effective than steel, and you can still get it, but it's just you're gonna pay the price. So it's obviously expensive. We still have our premium boxes for 12 and 20 gauge that have mostly bismuth in there with some TSS steel blends. But yeah, so I mean, there's still like with our packs, we'll have like a number 2 pack, which is mostly all number 2 shot. The only the only shells that aren't all number 2 are either a stack load like Migra or Kent Fast Plus, Federal Ultra Steel, or like I said, we still have some of the bismuth in there. And then we'll have that box will be number 2s, and there'll be a number 3 box, and then a number 4 box. So we have like pack 1, number 2s, number 3s, number 4s, and then it'll be the same thing, except it'll be pack 2, number 2s, and then number 3s, and then the premium. So there's 12 total different options now between 12 and 20. So pretty much all companies are represented. The only one we don't have yet is Rio. That's the only one not actually represented amongst waterfowl, but we're still working on expanding. I've got so many different irons in the fire with new things that are coming, things that are we've talked about, but there's just so many different things that are constantly floating around in my head of, hey, what are we going to do next? And if I had all the money in the world, the things that I could do now, but I'm excited for what we got coming.
So y'all offer these packages for waterfowl, but then it's also, you have the exact same thing for turkey loads.
Yep. Yeah, so we have 12, 20, 410, and then we actually added 28 gauge for turkey this year.
What are you seeing in the 28 gauge world? Big, is it getting bigger?
It is. It's still. It's still. I feel like it's in its infancy, where There's not a ton of people doing it,
Mm.
but it's, whereas a few years ago, you weren't hearing anybody shooting a 28 for hardly at all.
Right.
Um, and we were going to come out with a 28 gauge for waterfowl this year, but those were going to be all bismuth loads. And after talking with all of our ammo companies, um, they were like, we're good this year, but next year we don't know what it's going to look like. So we held off on that, and we're gonna see with what the TSS stuff goes. Looks like here soon, but yeah. So for 12 gauge, we've got, I think it was five different packs now. We've got a couple different boxes of 3-inch TSS, a 3-inch box of lead, a 3.5-inch box of lead, and then a 3.5-inch box of TSS. 20 gauge. I mean, I think we're at three different boxes that are pretty much all TSS, except for a couple. I think pack one's got like Longbeard XR and Federal Third Degree, and then we've got a couple different boxes for 410, and then just one box for 28. So I mean, the amount of different options that you get to try is pretty cool to see how well represented companies are across the board, from everywhere from the biggest guys to other guys that 99% of people have never heard of.
Right. And TSS for turkey is a game changer. It is lights out. That's why
Yeah,
I
yeah.
try to tell people that TSS for turkey ain't no joke.
I think the only thing that I don't like about it is guys who are now trying to make just ridiculously long
God.
kill shots. Um, and I mean, I get it. Sometimes you're like, well, screw it. Well, I'll send it. We've all been there, but I think it's the people who are doing it to try and prove a point. I kill this turkey at 90 yards. I'm like, dude, like if you want to kill a turkey at 90 yards, just go out to a western state and go kill one with a rifle. Like I want that bird. I want that bird gobbling in my face. Like I want it close. Um, and so that's the only like downside I have to say about TSS. Other than that, I used it this year, killed a couple birds.
So, did you
Um,
hunt in South Carolina, or did you go somewhere else too?
no, I was here in South Carolina. Thought about going um, up to North Carolina with Christian, but that just didn't happen. Um, we've been trying to plan something over the last year and a half, and we have not hardly been able to do anything. I mean, I go up there to duck hunt a little bit. I think next weekend is actually, they have like a 2-day coastal season,
Right.
and so I'll go up there and we'll get the family up there, um, and we'll go try and shoot something over those couple days. But hopefully it's better than last year. Last year we had the tide at like it just fell like crazy, and we ended up getting stuck and then unstuck and thought we were good because we were floating again. I mean, we had taken boat batteries out, guns, extra decoys, I mean, everything, and got it unstuck. Picked up decoys, and then it looked like we were gonna be good. And then we proceeded to take, I don't know, two plus hours of getting out of the boat at the front, pulling the boat alongside of us, and then pulling our stuff back up into the boat. And it was like waist deep pluff mud.
Mm.
So that was uh
I just,
that
I
was a
just,
long.
I just
Oh,
smelt it. I just it that
mhm.
when you said the puff mud, the smell got me.
I saw a picture on Facebook this evening, and it was somebody like digging themselves out, like where they were worse off than we were. And I screenshot it, sent it to Christian. He said, "I just had a PTSD moment just thinking about that day." So I actually have a great picture of that day, and it was when we got back out onto like deeper water, and we knew we were good. And I'm on the bow, and I take a selfie, and you can see the boat is just, I mean, it is covered. Every inch of it is covered. And I'm kind of laughing at this point. So I got a big old smile on my face, and Christian isn't quite over it yet. So he's kind of flipping me the bird. And so I actually got put that, I printed it out onto, I got it printed onto a little canvas, like a little 6x6 canvas, and I hung that up at his house. So,
we do a lot of hunting down towards you. We hunt a lot of the marshes, and that this year's teal season was off. The tides have been, like you said, just like at that time. But the tides this year have been really weird. Like, you would look at the app that said high tide is at this time, and it would be low tide. And when it was supposed to be shifting, it wasn't shifting. Like, we got to the boat ramp before my buddy did, and he's like, well, it should be turning. And I'm like, dude, it's going out like by the feet. Like, it's crazy. And then come this week, all the high tides of the king tides of Charleston and Myrtle Beach and well, it wasn't a hurricane, though, a tropical depression storm, whatever. Mm-hmm. It battered the Outer Banks. I mean, the tide ain't no joke.
Yeah, it wasn't a good day. It really wasn't. It didn't hardly. I mean, we saw like 4 or 5 ducks. It was a bit rough. I mean, I don't know if there could have been other ducks in the area. We only got 45 minutes into it before we started digging our way out. So that was a long day. It was good, good lesson learned. But I was like, well, the only good thing that came out of it, other than we know where not to go and really pay attention to the tide more, was found a great spot to go catch redfish. There was a ton of redfish in this little spot. So I may tell him this weekend, hey, we're going to go there. But we're going to park the boat in like the main, like the, kind of the main creek off this spot, and we'll take, the canoe or kayak in there, because we would have been good with that. But man, it was rough. But either that, or we'll just try and get after some wood ducks. He lives right on a little river that comes off into the Black River there, and just outside of Wilmington, North Carolina.
So your little talking about the puff mud, I don't know if you've seen this or not, so I'm going to share it on the left side of the screen here. Make sure. There we go. Got to add you back. This was last week. 1 week, 2 weeks ago, right here. I saw it all on social media. The guy was
it in Maine?
Was it Maine? It says Burnswick, but he got stuck in the puff mud. They actually had to come out there and rescue him.
I heard about that. Yeah. I mean, we were. It was. Yeah, it was touch and go for a bit. There was definitely some thought, but after I saw we were making progress, I was like, dude, we just got to keep going. I was like, I'm not sitting here. That was like, that is not in the cards. We are getting out of here.
Well, that must be that's probably the Marines coming out in y'all too. So
we definitely got ourselves in some situations where that was probably, I was like, we had a nasty hike in California. And I was like, we got back, and I was like, I really think most people would be stuck on the mountain right now. So there's some of that stuff where I'm like, yep, Marine Corps did good when it came to that. So yeah, it was interesting. Funny now, but definitely learned a couple hard lessons there. But I never claimed to be all that smart, so I got to learn my lessons hard. I think most of those hard lessons I have taught myself now to avoid because my body just doesn't do what I need it to do like it used to.
Yep.
The Marine Corps, yeah, it's got me out of some situations, but the thing it did to my body is, it just beat it up.
And the EMS
But yeah,
probably ain't helping.
unless we gotta move somebody who is overly large, or and sometimes with a fire, you'll really get a good workout in. Um, but yeah, it's some of the stuff you do, you're like, that's not helping. But uh, yeah, so duck season obviously just around the corner, so you got to pattern your gun. But we got some new stuff coming out. We have. I don't know if it's going to end up launching this year or not. Upland box. So the first iteration is going to be all pheasant loads, and then dove loads will be after that, and then a rifle ammunition will be this coming year. So there's a lot that's gone on with that, and then the thing that I mean, I'm really excited for the rifle, but I think honestly that I'm probably most excited for is actually a choke tube rental pack. So it'll be 3 choke tubes of the same constriction. Um, we'll from 3 different companies. We'll send them to you. You actually get to test them out. You shoot them. We'll give you roughly a week or so. That's still kind of up in the air, but we'll give you roughly a week to shoot them. Whatever one you decide that you like best, you go ahead and pay us for that one. Send us back the other 2, and now you don't have to wonder if that choke tube they're going to go buy is actually going to work for you.
Right.
So it's there's some obviously some more moving parts because there's a send to you, and then obviously there's going to be either some kind of hold or some kind of authorization we'll have to figure out. And then send us back the other 2. So there's some more moving parts, but I think overall we've got it pretty well figured out. So it's that's going to be really interesting. I've had nothing but overwhelming positive feedback. So I'm really excited for that.
I mean, that's nothing on the market that I know of.
No, nope. So there's some cool stuff coming. It's been a lot of work, a lot of time, either brainstorming or, I mean, Chris and I spent over an hour on the phone today talking about either box designs or things that we needed. It's been a lot more work than I ever anticipated. Either one of us, honestly, but it's been a ton of fun. But it's been a lot. So I can't wait for it to actually come out, and I'm sure especially with the choke tube stuff, because it's completely different. There'll probably be some glitches here and there, but as long as people do what they need to do and send it back to us, so there'll be some kind of rental fee, but we'll give you I think we're gonna have probably a 10% discount off of the retail price of whatever choke tube that is. And then you'll actually have that choke tube. So it's gonna be really cool. And I told people, I'm like, well, they're like, well, what if they don't return the choke tubes? I'm like, well, then congratulations, they are the proud new owner of 3 choke tubes at retail price.
Absolutely.
So if you don't send them back to me, then okay, then you just used a lot of your own money. And if that's what you wanted, then cool. But so it's coming. Got most everything figured out.
That's pretty cool. Like I already heard about it, and Jay in the comments was commenting, but yeah, I already heard this idea from you, and we talked off, I don't know, a couple weeks ago about it. I think it's a great opportunity because I've never heard of it. So if there was a way, and this may be 27, 28 product idea, if there's a way to get a package of guides that you could rent to come to your house and actually guide for you, and then you just ship the guide back, man, that could be an awesome opportunity there.
Yeah, that one may border on human trafficking.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I didn't think about that.
Um, but yeah, I've got quite a few more ideas, and we were talking about it today, where it's, hey, we can, some stuff will only take you so far before you have to branch off and do something else. It's really hard to just have one thing to to shoot you into the stratosphere, I guess, if you want to say.
Jay says that's going to be a really good idea for turkey choke constriction too.
Oh yeah, and turkey hunters, they love to tinker. They love to tinker. They'll pattern just ridiculous amounts.
Especially the 410 guys.
Oh yeah, and I love the 410. I think it's awesome. And I tell people, I said that's my favorite. That's my favorite thing about TSS is the 410, because it's given kids way better opportunities. Now you've got grown men out there. They're only taking the 410. Or you get some of the older guys who are like, I can't shoot a 12 gauge anymore. Their shoulders are too bad.
Right.
And now they go out there with a 410 TSS, and they can absolutely kill a turkey at 40 yards. So it's pretty cool to that you can have that effectiveness with just such a tiny little. I mean, you go shoot a 410, it feels like it feels like a toy.
It does.
It's a lot of fun though. So
Steel 410 and TSS 410s about a difference of 200 pellets.
I patterned some steel 410. You're like, man, you better be on it.
Absolutely.
You are not. You don't have a whole lot of opportunities there. That's kind of the other bummer, not having bismuth nearly as readily available. Like, I think I still got a little bit for the 410 for my kid, but it's I really hope to see those prices kind of come back down, but I think we got a little bit before things settle down in that arena.
I tend to agree also. So how can people get in touch with you?
Yeah. Well, Facebook is Pattern Pros USA. Instagram is just Pattern Pros. And then the website is patternprosusa.com. Either one of those platforms you can reach us on pretty quickly. My number is actually at the bottom of the website. So if you do have any questions, I love to talk. I talked to a guy today from Louisiana for probably 15 minutes. And that was actually pretty cool. I had just done another podcast. And he's like, hey, I just listened to it. And he's like, it inspired me to be better and actually go pattern my gun. And I feel like that sounds like I made that up, but on it, like I really didn't. I told my wife, I was like, it was actually a really cool phone call. In fact, I'm like, all right, hey, I made a difference, at least in somebody's duck hunting adventure. Right. So if you do have any questions, feel free to either shoot us a message or call me. The only time I don't respond is if I'm actively on a fire or EMS call. Other than that, I'm pretty quick to respond. It's obviously deer season, so I'm hunting quite a bit right now. But that's Oh yeah. Killed a good doe a couple weeks ago, and then in that same field, it's actually right behind my station. I got permission on a little 6 acre now it's cut cornfield. Um, Killed a good doe, and then I actually killed a 10 point last week, the morning of my shift. So I went in early, and I shot him at about 7:15, and then 7:45 I was in the parking lot.
Wow.
So my wife actually had to come. She had to come get my truck and drive that into the processor. So that was kind of funny. But yeah, so killed a couple. I've got some other good ones on camera that have no kind of pattern yet, but they're hanging around. And I've got another decent 8 point that is at my little bow stand, and I haven't killed a deer with my bow in a few years, so I'm kind of itching to get back at that. So if he stops and hangs around there for a second, he's gonna catch one. But definitely been filling the freezer, which has been much needed, and now the weather's finally cooperating, so I'm not sweating like crazy.
Right. So you in a different zone in South Carolina. We got 4 zones. You're in a different zone. Your season came in earlier. Even gun
Hmm.
and bow come in. Ours gun or primitive gun just come in the 11th. So I went
Oh man.
Tuesday. So Tuesday was my first day, and dude, I had a doe that I could almost touch. She was so close. And I didn't want to be like first day out, take out a doe, could be a buck somewhere. I just pulled out my phone and recorded her. Now she did see me, but she wasn't like, "What is that?" And I just stay still and record. Now I got like 5 minutes of like really good up close. At that point, I was like, I felt just as good as hunting because I got this.
Oh yeah.
I mean, how other than like petting zoos, you typically don't get that close to real nature animals. And
Oh no.
dude,
I love that's my favorite kind of stuff is
yeah,
that stuff right there.
I just took it
A
all in.
couple evenings ago, I went and took my bow, and um, I had I ended up having a little spike come jogging through the corn pile, and I'm things are the rut is definitely kicking in here. Like that 10 point I killed him with a rifle, but his tarsal glands were black. He was smelling funny. Uh, so he was obviously been rutting, and that little spike, he kind of had his tongue out, was bouncing along, and I love to see that kind of stuff. Like it was, I mean, I could have stopped him, and he had. I think I'm standing up. He had no clue I was there. I or either that, or another one of my stands. I've had turkeys walk right underneath me 2 or 3 times now, and I absolutely love every second of that.
Just we live in the same state, but for me to get to probably where you at the bottom of the coast, Charleston, Georgetown area, that's like almost 3 hours. But them 3 hours make so much different in hunting zones. Like our rut is weeks and weeks away, so it is crazy how the
Oh yeah,
animals how they are different.
it's yeah. First of all, so yeah, August 15th starts here, and you go straight in a rifle. There's no that first month is bucks only. Um, but yeah, it's I mean, a lot of time I'll see rutting activity in September, like
Really.
mid September. A few years ago, my buddy and I had a little lease. I think we had 385 acres. It was a great little spot for us. And we killed we killed 2 good bucks. I think it was like 5 minutes apart. Like I heard him shoot, and I was like texting him. He goes, "He down?" He goes, "He's in the corn pile." And I look up, and I had a nice 8 point in my corn pile. Shot him, and both of them had been rutting. Uh, you could like their tarsal glands were black. They've been rubbing. You could see all the tree bark and all over their heads, and then they had scratches all over their necks. You could tell like they've been fighting, which was cool to see. Um, but I mean, I'll see it. I killed. There's a little buck my wife's uncle wanted me to kill on one of his properties 2 years ago, and he's like, "Hey, I want this thing gone." So all right, well, shot. It was just a funky little 4 point or 5 point or something, and that was I think the end of December, and he was rutting like tarsal glands black. He smelled like so it's they rut like the entire season.
Wow, it is crazy. Daniel's commenting. He said that the new copper shells are in 20 gauge is performing really well.
I've heard nothing but good things so far, so it's cool to see. Boss has treated us well, so I've been rooting for them. Um, but yeah, I mean I've heard good stuff about the copper and the penetration tests and everything is apparently coming along swimmingly. So I'm glad to hear that that's gone out all right. But obviously I haven't had a chance to shoot any yet. But
I ain't either.
not too long.
I don't know I ain't been on your side of the camera before, but on my screen and what the guests get to see is a live camera, and I'll bring it up so that maybe you can see it. But I have a live camera that streams typically 24 hours a day when I'm not doing these kind of lives. But it's a big corn pile, and I don't know if people have been watching it tonight as we talk, but there has been like 3 or 4 raccoons coming through my corn pile.
So I got my first set of traps for Christmas, and I trapped the ever living daylights out of the 2 properties that I lease.
Mm-hmm.
And I think between coons and possums, I trapped over 40 of them.
Really?
And I saw a abundant. I have a bunch of turkeys. It was cool. That like the hatch was phenomenal.
Well, if you need a friend to come help you with them, just remember you got my number for next year.
I know. So now that I've got more corn out, some of the coons have obviously more coons have made an appearance, but here pretty soon they're going to get hammered again. But for a while, like I took care of them and I stopped seeing almost any coons at all.
Mm-hmm.
So for anybody wondering whether or not it makes a difference to trapping, it does.
Yeah, and that's a big population hurt for our turkeys.
Oh yeah, it's I got rid of a few. I got rid of 3 bobcats on one property. So that I know those are absolute killers as well. But yeah, they say the nest raiders are the absolute biggest herder of turkeys. They don't even give them a chance.
Yep,
So I mean, just go out and get in a few of those get a half a dozen of those dog proofs. And I use just little marshmallows, and you'll make a difference real quick.
The first, I think, 3 weeks of a hatch is when they can't fly and protect themselves. So that's like the 3 first weeks of a baby turkey is like the hardest for the population.
Oh, and then they get hammered. But you give them the best chance you can and prevent them, at least allow them to hatch. But if a coon comes in there, he'll sometimes they'll eat every freaking egg in the nest, and a lot of times they'll end up killing the hen. So you're just wiping out a future generation and present. So it makes a difference. It's been really cool to kind of see the fruits of my labor. But now it's bumming me out because I'm like, oh well, I'm not going to go trapping right now. That's going to mess up all the deer hunting.
Yeah.
I can't be out there. So it's here. It's like the day after deer season ends, there is going to be traps in the ground, and they are going
So
to.
this 2 weeks ago was the Duck Festival of Somerton, and this year's Somerton Duck Festival, they partnered with the South Carolina Trappers Association. And I didn't know that trapping was that big in South Carolina, and like they had vendors there, and like I didn't know half these companies existed because I don't do a lot of trapping, if I do any at all. But with that being said, it opened my eye up, and I will have in the next weeks, next month, a couple of these guests coming on talking about trapping in South Carolina. So I don't know nothing about it, and I'm going to learn just as much as everybody else watching how big the trapping is in South Carolina.
It's yeah, you don't hear about it a ton, but the people who do it typically do it like crazy.
Yeah.
Like they and I keep saying it makes a difference, but
Oh, yeah,
you say
absolutely.
I wish there's more turkeys around. Well, it doesn't take a whole lot for you to go do
Mm-hmm.
it. I mean, whatever the corn's left out after deer season, either go put more out or you keep running your feeders, and I guarantee those coons are going to be there. And I mean, I've caught coons in as little as a few hours, like middle of the day. Like went set new trap, and I have a camera on it or whatever, or I go check it the next morning, and the coon's already there.
Yeah.
Take care of them, move on, reset it, move on.
And there's a lot of people that like some barbecue coon too.
I would like to do it again. We had a guy come bring one into the station a few years ago, and they smoked it and put some barbecue sauce on it. And I was like, dude, I'd eat that again in a heartbeat.
Yeah, and there's a particular guy that I take all mine to, and oh my gosh, you would think you were bringing him steaks. He loves it. But well, I appreciate you coming on. If I would have known it was 2 years, I would have had you on earlier. So anything new? Let me put it like this: anything new that's coming out that you already talked about, when that product does release, reach out to me also so we can, you know, throughout this video, there's been a lot of people on and off, and and how many people is going to listen to the podcast and watch the videos afterwards. So anything new coming out when you release something, definitely let me know, and then we can have you on. So
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's funny. I hadn't realized it'd been that long either. Until you said a year, and I was like, oh no, man, I think I think it's been longer than that. But yeah, I'm excited for the new stuff we got coming out. It's gonna be a lot, still a lot of time and a lot of money. It's still gotta go into kind of hammering out the last little bit, but things are coming.
sounds good, man. I appreciate you coming on, and if y'all out there looking for some shells, getting ready for the season, definitely go check out their website. Uh, Again, this is a great chance that you can test a bunch of brands before wasting your money and support a veteran owned business, a South Carolina owned business. So definitely check them out when you considering purchasing something.
Well, thanks, RD. I really appreciate it.
All right. Well, I appreciate everybody coming on. Like I said, I got a bunch of different people coming on over the next couple of weeks. All kind of different vendors. The next 2 months are going to be packed. So hopefully y'all continue to watch on Wednesday night. So we'll see y'all again next Wednesday at 8 o'clock. And I'll see y'all next time. Appreciate it. Here's a word from our sponsors. Matthew Knight with Satura investors out of Charlotte. There's the information. The link to his website is scrolling across the banner down at the bottom, and it's also in the description. Today's episode is about helping business owners and working professionals like you who share a passion for the outdoors, shooting sports, zeroing them in to their long-term financial goals. So if you need any information or contact or any other questions, contact Matthew. Also, go check out Salt Creek Ammo. This triple curl TSS is some of the best TSS I have ever shot. This is for waterfowl edition. It's made full waterfowl. So if you're going to shoot a species that you've been chasing for a long time, don't use no cheap ammo. You pay good money to go on a trip. You got great guns. Don't cheap out on cheap ammunition. This TSS is amazing. It's got number 7s, number 8s, and he has number 9s. So go check out saltcreekammo.com. Here you will find any kind of ammo you're looking for. He has custom loads, TSS in 10 gauge, 12 gauge, 20 gauge, low pressure ammunition. You got predator ammunition, turkey ammunition, anything you're looking for, give Keith a call. Also to the channel, Kicks Industries, most people will know them as Kick Chokes, has came on board, and I have done a bunch of series lately on waterfowl choke tubes, turkey choke tubes, deer choke tubes. So go check out Kick's website for all of the chokes that can fit your guns. Flint Ridge Hauling Service LLC has partnered up with the channel. It is your go-to provider for all your hauling needs. They are not just any hauling service. They are an active DOT interstate hotshot hauling provider. Flint Ridge Service LLC prides itself in its reliable transportation services. This team ensures that your cargo is delivered safely and on time no matter the distance. Whether you need to transport goods across the county or state line, they have the capacity and the expertise to meet your hauling needs. Equipped with a smooth riding 40-foot air ride equipped trailer and a max hauling capacity of 20,000 pounds, there's no load too big or too small that they can't handle. Look no further than Flint Ridge Hauling Service LLC.